All right, so you're here because, well, you want to understand what's really important, right? But also, you want to do it quickly. Who has time to waste these days? Today, we're diving deep into something that really affects how smoothly an experience feels or how much it just leaves you feeling kind of overloaded.
You got it. In this world where we're just bombarded with information all the time, it's so important to really get how our brains deal with choices. We're going to be looking at Hick's law today.
Okay, Hick's Law. So before we get too far, what is that exactly?
Well, there's this great video by Nick Babich that explains it really well. Basically, it boils down to this. The more options you've got in front of you, and the more complex those options are, the longer it's going to take you to decide.
So it's like the more stuff I got to choose from, the harder my brain has to work.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And, more options don't always equal a better experience. Sometimes it just makes you feel stuck. It's that direct link between how many choices you're given and how long it takes you to react and actually pick something.
Right. Okay, so I can see how that would be a problem. But can you give me a real world example?
Absolutely. So imagine you're trying to pick out a piece of fruit,
Mm.
right? And I give you this giant list, like 20 different kinds of fruit. Everything from your basic apple to like a dragon fruit or something you've never even heard of.
Okay, yeah, I'd have to read the whole thing, try to remember what some of that stuff even tastes like.
Exactly. Your brain's trying to process all of it. But now, what if instead of that huge list, I just held up three things?
Hmm.
An apple, a banana, and an orange. Which one do you pick?
Oh, that's easy. I'd probably grab the orange.
See? That was almost instant. It just feels easier.
Yeah, way easier. So are there other places where this Hick's law comes into play?
Oh, definitely. Think about restaurant menus, right? You open it up and it's like this huge book, especially when you get the categories like, I don't know, seafood, 15 different kinds of fish, all prepared in different ways.
Oh, I hate those. My eyes just glaze over, and I end up ordering the chicken fingers because it's just too much.
Right. But then you go to a place with like 6 items total on the menu. Suddenly it's like, oh, okay, I can actually decide what I want without feeling overwhelmed.
It's funny because you'd think more options would be better, but a lot of times it's the opposite. Like, I remember those old TV remotes. A million buttons, most of which I had no idea what they did.
Oh yeah, the ones that looked like you could launch a spaceship with them, but really you just needed like volume, channel, power.
Exactly. And now you've got something like the Apple TV remote, like 5 buttons. So simple.
That's Hick's law in action. They got rid of all the extra stuff and it makes it way more user-friendly.
So, this idea of reaction time, how long it takes you to do something, that's a big part of this, right? So, what exactly are we talking about when we say reaction time?
We're talking about how long it takes you, the user, to look at your options and then actually do something. Click a button, pick something from a list, whatever.
And the more choices there are, the longer that reaction time is going to be.
Exactly. And that's because your brain literally has to work harder. But it's not just the number of choices that matters.
Oh, what else plays into it?
Well, how old you are makes a difference. Generally, older people tend to have slightly slower reaction times. And then there's your comfort level with tech in general. Someone who's super tech savvy is probably going to navigate through menus faster than someone who's not.
Right, that makes sense.
And then how familiar you are with the specific product matters too. Like if you use a particular app all the time, you're going to be way faster than someone who's never seen it before.
Oh, yeah, totally. Someone trying to learn some complicated new software that can take forever.
Right. And we have to keep in mind all these individual differences when we're thinking about Hick's law and how we can use it to design better things.
So, how do we actually use it? Give me some tips.
Nick Babbich's video lays out four main strategies. First one,
Mm.
break big, complicated tasks down into smaller steps.
Okay, so how does that actually help?
Think of it this way. You're reducing the mental load. It's like how much your brain has to juggle at once. Instead of being faced with like this huge form to fill out all at once, you get it in smaller chunks, like when you're checking out online. First you do shipping, then billing, then you confirm.
Oh, I see. It's way less overwhelming that way.
Exactly. The second thing you can do is highlight recommended options, kind of guide the user toward the best choice.
So, like, if there are 5 options, but one is highlighted as the most popular or something.
Yeah, exactly. It gives you a starting point.
Yeah.
And this is especially helpful with things like pricing plans, for software subscriptions. But the key, to be honest about it, recommend the thing that's actually best for the user, not just what makes the company the most money.
Right. Otherwise, people lose trust. Okay, so that's 2. What about the third strategy?
Minimize the total number of choices. We already talked about this with the TV remotes. You don't want to just throw a ton of options at people right away. That's where filtering and narrowing things down becomes really important.
I think I get that.
Think about social media feeds, like YouTube. They use algorithms to figure out what you might like, and they only show you a handful of videos to start. They're basically filtering through a ton of stuff to make it manageable for you.
And Amazon does that too, right? With the recommendations.
Yeah, like the frequently bought together or those gift guides. They're using data to help you find what you need without making you scroll through a million things. And then the fourth strategy, categorize your options. Put similar things together.
How does that help?
It just makes the information easier to process. Your brain can scan through things more efficiently if there's a clear structure. Like, think about the settings menu on your phone or on a website like Twitter. They group settings by category, like account, privacy, notifications.
Yeah, okay. I can see how that would be helpful. It's way easier to find what you're looking for.
Right. But you also have to make sure your categories make sense to the user.
What do you mean?
Well, what seems logical to the person who designed the interface might not make sense to the person who's actually using it. So you have to do things like user research. There's a technique called card sorting, where you ask users to group things into categories that feel natural to them.
Interesting. So you can actually see how people think about things.
Exactly. But even with good categories, you can still have too much stuff. Like, think about the settings page on Facebook. It's got categories, but there are so many options, it's still overwhelming.
Oh, yeah. I hate going in there. It feels like they're trying to make it so confusing that you just give up and don't change anything.
That's a good point. Hick's law isn't just about reducing the number of options. It's about making the whole experience clear and manageable. It's about giving the user control.
Okay, so big picture Hick's law means the more choices you give someone, the harder it is for them to decide.
Exactly. And that's something we have to think about all the time, especially when we're designing products or experiences.
So let's recap those 4 ways to apply Hick's law. Break down complex tasks, highlight recommended options, minimize choices overall, and categorize things logically.
You got it.
All right. So to wrap this up, I want you to think about a time when you had to make a decision and it just felt really hard. Maybe you were trying to pick a streaming service or buy something online, or even just decide what to eat for dinner. How many choices did you have? Do you think Hick's law might have been playing a role?
It's amazing how often this principle shows up in our lives. And if you start to recognize it, you can use it to your advantage. Simplify the choices whenever you can, and you might find that things just feel a little bit easier.